for this particular demo, we are showcasing ServiceNow and SwiftKanban integration. We have taken a basic use case where the ServiceNow is being used by customer end and SwiftKanban is being used for development. This is the overview of the use case that we are going to show live in SwiftSync that we have configured for this demonstration. So getting started with the demo, the first step will be the sales executives who are using ServiceNow product. There are multiple incidents which are logged into ServiceNow, but then there is a requirement that certain type of incidents only gets approved for production. Not all of them are going to get approved for production. So the ones which gets approved for actually going into development, only those a particular subset of incidents will go into SwiftKanban with all the details that are filed on a particular incident, name, description, status, whatever data that is being given in that incident in ServiceNow flows right into SwiftKanban, logging a defect, a customer defect. This customer defect is then it is addressed by the developer which is going to solve this defect. Let me quickly give the overview. What we are sitting over here is customer and the sales executives are using ServiceNow system, and SwiftKanban is being used for product development. So all the incidents which are logged in ServiceNow are flowing into SwiftKanban. The ones which gets approved in ServiceNow are flowing into SwiftKanban. Inside SwiftKanban, the actual development is taking place. So the new defects which are logged in SwiftKanban readily shows up under the board. Developer gets an instant knowledge that new incidents or new customer defects are logged into ServiceNow and we need to work on them. As soon as the developer starts working on those defects, they change the status, they provide some comments, they add some attachments. They are doing several updates on a particular card in SwiftKanban. Whatever updates that the developer is doing, whatever state changes or whatever the queue or lane changes the developer is doing in SwiftKanban gets readily reflected into ServiceNow. Inside ServiceNow, we can see all the changes that are actually being done by developer in SwiftKanban. So once the defect is marked as in progress, in ServiceNow, the sales executive will get an update that yes, the customer defect which we have logged earlier is actually getting started. Developers have already assigned it to the respective person and the work is in progress. Once the defect is completed, the work for that particular defect is completed, developers will go ahead, provide comments, they will shift it into the done lane, or they will archive the cards from the board, and the same status changes will go back into ServiceNow. So in ServiceNow, the whole life cycle of a defect, that when it was logged by sales executive and SwiftKanban developers marked as completed, the whole life cycle is being replicated in ServiceNow. So once the sales executive gets the data that yes, my defect is completed, they can go ahead, pass it on for further UAT testing. The customer will go ahead, accept the criteria which they have, and finally they will close a particular incident in ServiceNow. This is a small use case that we are going to show for this particular demo, and in case if you have any queries on the demo flow, we can discuss it right now, or else I can show you the demo first and then we can go ahead. So the screen we are seeing right now is the ServiceNow, and the one which is opened in next tab is SwiftKanban. So the first step will be we will be logging multiple incidents in ServiceNow. So Umang, let's go ahead, add certain incidents. Okay, so we are adding some short description. These are the by default fields that we can see: the date open, the impact, that is 3 low, the status is new, and the caller is demo user. Let's save it, Umar. Okay, so we have 2 incidents logged over here, and out of one of them we are going to mark as approved, so that SwiftSync will recognize that yes, this is the incident that I need to flow into SwiftKanban for further development. So Umang, can we just go ahead and mark one of them as approved? Okay, so we can see that currently the state is new, and Umang is marked. Okay, it is he's marking as approved. Let's go ahead, mark it as approved. So SwiftSync basically has a facility wherein you can just sync a particular subset of data. It is not always required to, poll everything which is coming into ServiceNow. There are business requirements where you just want to bring all the open ones or all the in-progress ones, and not the whole bunch of data which is logged into ServiceNow. Because as we all know, it's actually a customer CRM system. So basically, there's a lot of tickets of lot of types that are getting logged in ServiceNow. We are just going to bring a particular subset which are marked as approved and are logged by sales executive. So we have marked this particular incident in ServiceNow as approved, and we can see that that is the only one which will flow into SwiftKanban. So Umang, can we please go to SwiftKanban and refresh the board? Okay, so we can see that the card we just added into ServiceNow, it popped into SwiftKanban. Can you please open that? Can you please add to board? It is logged into backlog for now. So once the card is into backlog, we are pulling that card from backlog to the Kanban board into ready lane. The developer gets an instant knowledge. Yes, go ahead, Umang. You can mark it as ready. Okay, let's go to the board and open the card. Okay, so we can see that the data that we fed in ServiceNow incident is actually the same data that is coming into SwiftKanban without any kind of data loss. So we have the name and the link to remote entity. Can you please open that? Yeah, this is a particular feature. This is a very special feature which we support in SwiftSync. This is a facility wherein you don't have to go and search into source system that what is the equivalent incident for the card which you are seeing. You can simply click on that link, paste it in the browser, and you will directly go to the same incident which you logged in ServiceNow. So there's a remote linking which happens, and we have this bidirectional. So even in ServiceNow entity, you'll be able to see the link of the card which is created into SwiftKanban. Yeah, so here it is. Let's go back to SwiftKanban. Let's go ahead in the demo flow. Mark it as let's mark it as in progress. Let's move the development lanes. So now we can mark it as ready for development. So we can see that there are various stages on SwiftKanban board, and even in a general practice, you have various number of stages in the development lifecycle. So we have design, then we have coding, the code review, and finally the dev complete. So we are going to shift card from one by one from each and every lane. Let's go ahead, Umang. Let's shift the card. And we will see that all the 4 statuses in SwiftKanban is mapped to one single status in ServiceNow. Because in ServiceNow, it is not really important for a sales executive to bifurcate between what are the different processes inside development. It is definitely important from a developer's point of view, but not really important from sales perspective. So what we have done is we have mapped many statuses in SwiftKanban to one single status in ServiceNow. So let's shift the card from each and every lane, Umang, and we will see that we are shifting the card, but the status in ServiceNow will remain in progress or in ready for development only. So let's move till dev complete, Umang. Okay, so finally it is in dev complete. Can we go to ServiceNow and refresh the entity just to see that the status is changed from new to ready for development? So here, whatever status changes, or let's say title or description, whatever changes a developer is doing on a specific card, we can see all those changes getting reflected back in ServiceNow. So on an average it takes 30 seconds. We have set a scheduler of 30 seconds. After every 30 seconds, the job which is running in the background will pull the data from SwiftKanban or from ServiceNow and make the states of this particular incident same in both the end system, so that there is no lag and there is no discrepancy in the data in both the end system. So we can see that the status is marked as in development. Initially it was new when it was marked when it was created in ServiceNow. Now the status is in development. So the CS executive can actually identify that yes, the incident which was logged earlier is actually being worked upon, and he will be able to see results in a couple of days. Can we go back to SwiftKanban, Umang? So here, once the development is complete, the card is then moved to production lane. Let's move it to production, and developer adds a comment. We support the comments, attachments, and the hierarchy between different cards, the parent-child relationship, the upwards, the downwards, all type of relationships are supported by SwiftSync from one end system to another. So here what we are displaying is we are adding a comment. Once the card is moved into production, we are adding a comment on SwiftKanban card. This comment will again sync back into ServiceNow system. Yeah, let's save it. So the changes which are done by developer will reflect back into ServiceNow in an average turnaround time of 30 seconds. So here we are showing a bi-directional integration wherein whatever updates you are doing in ServiceNow flows into SwiftKanban, and the same updates which are done by developer in SwiftKanban will move back into ServiceNow. So there is a cycle. We have actually configured two-way integration for this. I would like to show you the configuration part. So Umang, can you go to system configuration? So basically there are three steps to make an integration running in SwiftSync. The first step is to create endpoints. Once we figure out that what is my source system and what is going to be my destination system, I have to create my endpoints. For example, in this case it is ServiceNow and SwiftKanban. So let's show the already created system for ServiceNow, Umang. Yeah, so we can see here that we need to create an endpoint. We need to provide the instance URL, a username and a password. This username password is basically used to connect to the publicly available web services that are there for any of the end system. Even for ServiceNow, we need a authentication, a user authentication, and same we need for SwiftKanban. So this is a system for ServiceNow. Can we show SwiftKanban as well, Umang? This is the SwiftKanban system. Exactly like ServiceNow, we have to provide the SwiftKanban URL and a username password combination. So once we have our source and the destination system identified, next step is to create mapping. Can we please open ServiceNow to Kanban mapping? So this mapping is basically the protocol. It states and it defines that what fields from ServiceNow are going to map to what different fields in SwiftKanban. For example, we have a name or a description in ServiceNow which we are going to map with title and description in SwiftKanban. Different systems has different names of certain fields. But we have the capacity to map, look at them at a glance and map them. So can you please click on the drop down for ServiceNow? So here the list that you are seeing actually are all the system as well as the custom fields that are available on a form in ServiceNow for an incident. So for incident, whatever fields you are seeing on the form, all the fields are mappable. We can pull data from all those fields and we can push data into all these fields. So we have mapped short description from ServiceNow to title in SwiftKanban, and we have mapped status to current queue in SwiftKanban. So similarly, just like ServiceNow, we also have a drop down for SwiftKanban fields. Can you please click on that, Umang? Yeah. So we have all the system as well as custom fields display over here. We just need to pick the fields and click on map. Rest everything will be taken care by SwiftSync. Now coming back to your user question. So in ServiceNow, I guess we have a user type of field. Can you please click on that, Uma? ServiceNow dropdown. Yeah, so here we have assigned to field. Can you please click on that? Yeah, assigned to, and in SwiftKanban we have something called current owner. Current owner. Yeah. So just after selecting both the type of user fields in both the end systems, you need to click on map. SwiftSync will automatically detect that both are user type of fields. You can see the data type queue, data type column. You can see that both the fields are of user type, and as long as emails for the user is same in both the end system, everything will be taken care automatically. For example, let's say your email ID is mintom@us.ibm.com. If this particular user is having a user account in ServiceNow as well as in SwiftKanban, and as long as the email ID is similar for this person, whenever a ticket will be logged by this user in ServiceNow, it will be automatically assigned as a card owner for the card which is getting created in SwiftKanban. So you can see assigned to value and card owner value similar in both the end system, as long as we have the email ID same for that particular person. And it is true for all the accounts which are existing in both the end systems. Similarly, there are 6 type of fields that we support. We support text, lookups, the date type of fields, user type of fields, numeric as well as booleans. We support all the data set that is available in any of the end system. So this is about the mapping. At the bottom you can see that there is comments, attachments and issue relationships. So basically you just need to cross tick them, and everything will be taken care automatically. All the comments that you are adding in any of the end system will sync to another system, and it is true for attachments as well. We support all type of attachments, which includes images, the text types, the MP3 files, and all those stuff. So the final step, once we have figured out our mapping, the final step is to create integration between two systems. So basically we have a source system and a destination system over here in the integration. From the drop down, we need to select what is our source system and the destination system. In the source system parameters, we have entity types and the polling time. This is a specific time from when you want to start polling the delta changes from your source system. So it is customizable. You can keep this time 4 years back in the past, or maybe 30 minutes later in the future. It is completely customizable. Once you select the source system parameters, next is destination system parameters. We need to select what is the context where I need to send my data. So we are going to select the project where I want to push my cards, and what will be the entity type. For example, incidents in ServiceNow will be treated as defects in SwiftKanban. So we need to do this mapping, and once we have figured out source and the destination definition parameters. The final step is to link mapping that we have created in step number 2 from the drop down and just submit an accurate link. This is a very quick and a basic overview of SwiftSync.